What's up, creatives, and welcome to another Romeo show. In today's show we are drawing a creased up folded bits of material today. We're drawing this piece here today. That's all we're waiting for, folks. Let's roll the intro. What's up, everybody? How's everyone doing? Hope you've had a good week and a good weekend. If you're new to the show, my name is Romeo. I am a sketch artist and life coach, drawing art therapy videos and mandala drawings on a Wednesday and drawing people's portraits for them using graphite pencil to photorealism, using graphite pencils and their photographs as well. I also teach how to draw on this channel. Also, I have Zentangle patterns that I sometimes do on here, and sometimes arts and crafts that I do on here. They're usually done when it comes up to more or less like Easter, Christmas and things like that. I'd like to say a big thank you to all the subscribers that I've hit lately. I hit 300, just over 300 subscribers onto my YouTube channel. Absolutely brilliant. Thank you very much for subscribing. Give me a comment in the comments below on how you're getting on with my drawings and everything, and love to know where you all are at and how you came across my channel. Looking to hit 1,000 by the end of the year. I've been on here now for 3 years now, so I'm slowly getting there now with it. You know, I'm always putting out video content twice, 3 times a week, either on shorts or on long form videos on here like this. I want to be putting out more and more videos. If you go over to my TikTok channel, I just hit another great milestone for me there. I just hit over 4,000 followers on my TikTok, which is absolutely fantastic. I want to be hitting 10,000 by the end of the year. And on there, I put up more Zentangle patterns, drawing videos, my VR stuff as well that I was doing lately as well. I'm going to be doing a lot more VR stuff as well. They're going onto my TikTok videos, and I've been doing a lot more doodling drawings on my TikTok as well. These are very much sort of caricatures and sort of patterns, things like that. I'm using the Posca pens, absolutely brilliant pens to use, and other forms of pen I'll be using too. Other form of pen that I use on there. I'm going to be drawing more on other materials like controllers, trainers, t-shirts, plastic things. I'm going to be going on to maybe testing out drawing on my hairdryers. I have a bit of a hairdresser, so I'm going to be drawing on the back of my hairdryer. So I want to test that out first, see how that goes, because I don't know what these pens are like, especially when it gets heated up a little bit as well. I don't want it to sort of be dripping down onto people's hair or anything like that. They may end up with a bit of colour on their hair that they weren't expecting. So I want to be testing that out first before I go ahead with it. So I'll be testing that out. And if you looked at my video that I did last week on my mandala drawing, I did using the Posca pens. I used the gold, silver and the white pen, and I did this mandala drawing, which was a really cool piece to do. Really enjoyed, on a black piece of paper. That was really cool. I enjoyed doing that one. That video is up. If you want to check that video out, just click that link that's just at the top there. I'll be doing another gold one like this. Probably do a full one this Wednesday. So keep your eye out for that. But today we are going to be drawing this material piece here. Folded up, creased up bits of material that I took a picture of. And we are going to be drawing that one using our graphite pencils. So what are we waiting for, folks? Let's roll the video. Hello everybody, and welcome to today's sketching drawing tutorial. Today we're going to be drawing a folded piece of material. This picture right here, I'll put a picture up into the corner so you can have a proper look at it and follow along. First of all, we're going to have a look, before we go through the tools, is the actual look of the actual material itself. We can see the outer line, outer shape of this piece of material, and we have a creased line in the center. Now, when we come to be doing any of the shaded areas to create the crease marks, we're not going to be doing actual lines, which is where people go a little bit wrong when they're creating any type of fold or crease into a fold. They tend to draw in the actual lines. It doesn't give it that realistic effect. So what we're going to be doing is actually shading into that crease using different mediums of pencil. So we'll be using I'll go through the pencils what we'll be using, but we can see we have very lighter areas. The light is coming from this area here and a little bit here as well, but mainly it's coming from this point here. You can see our medium shades and our darker shades for it. Not so many darker shades, but you've got that crease bit there where the fold is just resting on top of the piece of material. And we have another darker area just through this area here as well, and it's a few lighter bits coming through the edges. So pencils we are going to be using is for our outer line and some of the lighter shaded areas, we're using a 2H pencil. Medium tones, we'll be using our 2B, and for the darker tones we'll be using this 8B pencil. Now you can see the tool that I'm using on this 8B pencil. This is a really good pencil holder for when your pencils become really small. So when they start to become really sort of tiny and you can't sort of hold your pencils anymore as they get short, as you from sharpening them. This little contraption is absolutely brilliant to use. It comes in two little sizes, quite a large size and a medium size, and you just have to just slot your pencil inside and you just roll the ring up, and that secures your pencil firmly into this pencil holder. Now you can hold your pencil quite easily like how you would hold a regular size pencils. Great little tool to use for when using graphite pencils and they start to get really small. Good little tool to use, that one. So that's our pencils. The erasers, we've got my square eraser that I'll be using this eraser here. We've got the mono eraser. Probably won't use this as much, but we'll see how we go. This is mainly used for, you know, the finer areas in hair and things like that. Not so many finer details are going to be used in this picture here, but we'll see how we go with it. I might need to erase out a few lines or something like that, so that comes in good handy for that. May use it, I may not. We'll see how we go. We have a kneadable eraser, just in case we do a bit too much of a darker shade and we just want to lighten it out and pick up some of that graphite. Great eraser for that. You know, being a kneadable eraser, you can mold it into any sort of shape you like. And then for our blending tools, we've got our dry brush, blending stump, our piece of tissue, and if you haven't got a blending stump or dry brush, a cotton bud works just as well. So there are blending tools, and we've just got that dry brush just to get rid of any debris from the eraser as well. Okay, so right, let's grab our 2H pencil. We're going to start off with the outer line of our shape first, of our piece of material. So we've got like a little triangle point that comes up through here. That's the top part of our material. I'm going to go a little bit darker on here. You can go a little bit darker on the edges of this. Also so that you guys can see it too. Hope you guys have been enjoying these tutorials and you got on well with the water droplet we did last week. Let me know how you guys got on, if you attempted to draw the water droplet or if you are drawing it still, having a go at it, practicing drawing the water droplet. The more you sort of practice on these, the better you will get. And let me know how I'm getting on with my tutorials, how the training side to it, what I'm like as a teacher, good or bad, you know, even if it is bad, you know, please let me know. You know, I can improve, I can always improve on them, you know. I'm not a trained, qualified art teacher or anything like that. Everything I do is just off the cuff, it is, and I teach in a way where it's understandable and not so technical, as you can probably tell with some of the ways I talk about some of the shaded areas and things like that. So here we have this little bit that just comes in through there. This is that part of the crease of the piece of material. Now we're just going to bring it up. So this is just the outline we're creating using our 2H pencil. We'll then start using our 2B pencil to start drawing in the shaded areas. Now we're just going to bring this down a little bit and through there. I'm just going to bring it down now into a point. If you guys are into any sort of doodling as well, I've been doing quite a few on my TikTok account, Romeo_sketches on my TikTok. Follow me on there as well. I just recently hit 4,000 followers on TikTok as well, which I'm absolutely chuffed about. Absolutely brilliant. I'm hoping to get up to 10,000 by the end of the year. I'm hoping to get to 1,000 by the end of the year on my YouTube one as well. Thank you all to the new subscribers as well. Welcome. It's most appreciated. Following, subscribing to my channel. I do put out weekly content of how to draw Zentangle patterns, mandala drawings. The last couple of weeks, usually I do Zentangle patterns on a on a Tuesday on this show, but lately I've been wanting to more concentrate on the sketching side to it, get you guys more into the sketching side and teaching you guys how to draw and sketch. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to start off in this top area first. You can see it curves around slightly. It's a little bit lighter on the edges and it gets slightly a little bit darker towards this area here. It's a faint little line there is all. If we zoom in on it, you can see there's a faint little line that comes in. So we're just going to start on that area first, shading that area in. As you can see, I'm not going to be drawing any sort of harsh lines. It's all going to be shaded in. I'm using the 2H pencil to do this. I'm using the tip of the pencil, not the edges. And like I was saying, I don't want to use harsh lines to create the shaded areas or outer line areas or anything like that, because I want it to look as natural as possible. Using the tip of the pencil helps you to really sort of creates more of an even pressure on your drawing as well when you're shading in. And we're just coming around a little bit and just peek it off into this corner bit here. You can see where it just gets that little bit where it just creases into that corner onto the edge bit. We'll make that a little bit darker with a 2B pencil, and some of these areas through here, because it's just lighter on the edges, and then just slightly as it gets towards this crease it gets that little bit more darker. And I think just around the edges as well. This is where either the monitor eraser or the kneadable eraser will come into play with that one. So we've got that down. I'm just going to grab my blending stump, start to blend that through now, blend that graphite in. Just go over that edge bit. You can see how it just starts to phase out that line as well from the edge of our shade. I'm going in circular motions as I get to the edges. So yeah, as I was saying, yeah, I do a lot of doodle drawings now as well, doing some really colourful doodles, just experimenting with something a little bit different. I mean, as a kid I used to draw, I never drew sketches or anything like that. I could never draw a sketch, I could never draw eyes or anything like that. I could never draw people's faces. So I always used to draw cartoon characters, comic book characters, that sort of thing. So I'm really sort of getting back into that sort of side of it again, using Posca pens, different colour pens. If you saw my Mandela drawing that I did last week, I started using the gold, silver and white Posca pens. They came out really, really well on the black piece of paper that I was using. I've just switched to my dry brush now. Just give it that softer edge to it now. And just to distribute that graphite around. And then just grabbing our 2B pencil where it's just a little bit more darker around the edges area through here as it sort of tucks in. We'll just do slight little bit of darkness through here. And then it's a slight little bit darker through this area here as well. And as it is a little bit more lighter, just above this dark area here, it's not as dark as what it is looking at the moment from using our 2H pencil. I'll just dab it down with the kneadable eraser. Got that down. I'm using light pressure on the blending stump. Dry brush just to smooth out the edges. Then we're just going to grab our kneadable eraser. I'm just going to mould it into a certain particular shape. And then I'm just going to dab it just to pick up some of that graphite. Just so it's a little bit more lighter, not so dark. And also it just helps to blend in the dark to it as well. You can see how it's just starting to lift up. The graphite now. Now just using any of the other type of, any sort of graphite that's left on the blending stump, I'll use that as well to create any more. As you can see here now, we've got a nice little crease fold here now as well from this corner that comes around, meets up to this edge here. So we're just going to use that. Nice, gently start colouring that in as well, using any graphite that's on the pencil. This also helps to get graphite off of your blending stump, but also gives it that nice smooth transition to it as well. We're just going to build it up to that point there. We're slowly bringing it down, following the edge. See, this gives it a nice, with all the graphite that's on there from previous drawings, it builds up onto your blending stump and it gives it a really nice smooth finish to a lot of the work that you can create. Sometimes you don't need to add any graphite from your pencil. Just let the blending stump work it for you. And if you do need to add some graphite to it, just use your pencil just to add a bit more. But you see how it just gives it that nice, relaxed, soft feel to it as well. Just like that. I'm constantly sort of turning the blending stump around as well, building up the graphite that's on there. I'm using the edge of the blending stump. Okay, so we've got that little bit now, and we're just going to bring it into a Z type shape. As you can see, it forms like a little Z shape here. So we're just going to bring that round. You'll find that, sometimes just by using the blending stump, it helps so much more to create, especially in folds and creases and things like that, in any of the work that you're doing. Sometimes using your blending, your dry brush as well, that can really help. If you've got any graphite left on that too, bring that back around like that. We're just going to bring that around a little bit more. Before I find that majority of this, I'm just going to pick up some more graphite from here. Blend some of those pencil marks in. Erase some of this away. It's not so much into the corner. Dab in the eraser. Okay, now that we've used our blending stump just to get the rough image of where some of that shading is, I'm just going to apply, using the 2B pencil now, just a few more darker areas where the crease just forms in this triangle area through here, and just on this top area through the top of that crease there. So we're just going to start off in this corner, and just in circular motions, just going to be creating that triangle piece just through here, using the 2B pencil, so we can make it a little bit more darker, and it just sets it away from any of the other areas that we'll be shading in. And it just pans out really lightly towards the edge. So we're just going to use little pressure just to make a smooth transition into getting it that little bit more lighter towards the edges. And then just through this top area here, it's very lightly a little bit more darker, and it just comes down slightly through there. And I'm just going to use this top. I'm just using the pencil at a slight angle, as it's a little bit more comfortable as well to be using it like this. And then I'll go over it with my dry brush. It's just slightly a little bit more darker through here. This is what I was saying about when we was drawing the eyes. Always sort of have a little idea of where all the light sources are and where all the darker areas are, just so you've got a clear understanding of all the darker areas and the pencils that you'll be using It just gives you a good idea then of the picture that you're drawing as well. It's going to be a little bit more accurate as well. I mean, you don't necessarily have to draw this particular piece. You know, just take the method of what we're using and, you know, just get a piece of material and just crease it up, a piece of tissue or something like that, and have a little go. Practice makes progress. Not perfection, does that as well, but it also makes progress as well. Now with our dry brush, sort of smoothing out the graphite. The good thing about these dry brushes as well is because not only does it spread the graphite really well, but also as well you can tidy up the lines and make them a little bit more stronger, and it gives a nice soft edge and blend as well. You don't need to rush it, just take your time. You'll see that I keep going over the same areas as well. I'll keep moving back and forwards with the different tools. That's what I was saying last week, you know, just keep on using your different tools until you've got the right image you're looking for. And where it's a little bit more darker in areas, don't worry about that. Don't panic or anything. We've got the kneadable eraser that will get rid of those. You see, with the blending stump, it also helps to distribute and get rid of any, if you have created any sort of harsh lines in there, but it just blends, gives you that seamless transition between the light and the dark. Now using our kneadable eraser, just going to lighten up through the areas. Kick. This is where the kneadable bonnet eraser will come in. And that slight little crease in. It's always the, I know you're probably thinking, oh, it's getting really sort of finicky with the small details, but it's the small details that really set your work off and give it that realistic look to it. Always go with the smaller details in work. Darker areas, lighter areas, and the small little details. It helps so much with your work. Very gently with the eraser. So we create that sort of fuzzy edge to it. Now if we had drawn a line in there, it would have been a little bit more difficult to erase that out of the way. So that's that little bit done. We're still going to move on down now to a little bit more of these little areas through here. So using our 2B pencil. So we're just going to start off with this corner edge here. It's a little bit more darker through this edge, just to make it a little bit more crisper. Probably will go over this with the 8B pencil. It's just this little area here that gets really dark, but you see there is a shade to it as well, but that I would use with the blending stump. I'll just blend those bits in. Now just coming off of it, you have this shaded area here coming into a bit of a point, and then there's a light area on that part there, so we're not going to shade in that part, so we're just going to leave that bit out and shade in the rest, so we get that little curved edge to it. So it comes around, still using the tip of the pencil, it slightly comes around and just trails off through there. It's a little bit darker and then gets into lighter areas, and then following this little bit here, we're just going to bring it around, so you see where we're creating now that white creased edge. This all comes in, folds in, and slightly gets a little bit lighter, and then gets darker towards the centre of the crease. Then we'll use our blending stump to blend all the graphite in. I'm hoping this is not going to be a long video. I mean, I will speed up little bits of it as well, but I do want to get as much of this in for you as much as possible, so we're not doing like 2 parts, 3 parts, 4 parts, like with the eye sketch. That was just due down to the software I was using to edit my video. For some reason it just wasn't working for me that day, but it's fine now. Well, I say that, it'll probably mess up on me now. You see that we've not really sort of created any sort of harsh lines, outer edges of the shades or anything. We're just purely, it may look like we have because we've been shading in, but we haven't started with a harsh line like how we did with the outer edge. It's all been mainly the shaded areas. And like I was saying, you know, if it goes a bit too dark, don't worry. We'll get rid of those. No need to panic. I think that it's going wrong. And then it sort of comes around. I use very light pressure when using any of my pencils. The only time I go full on harsh with my pencils is when I'm doing the darker areas, like real dark areas. But any of these sort of areas I use very light pressure, I do. So now we're just going to go over it with our blending stump. Blend out those edges so they filter out. Just going to take some of that graphite off. You see, sometimes I'll dab it, sometimes I will do like strokes to it as well. Depending on how much graphite you put down, you can get away with just dabbing it sometimes, or just going full on with a streak over it. It's looking good. It's just where that crease is, it's going to be a little bit more darker through there. And on that top edge there it is. Then once we go over it with our darker pencil, it's going to pop out that little bit more, it will. So if we did, like I was saying, if we'd have used harsh edges, we wouldn't have created that folded textured effect that we're getting right now. And where it's just a little bit more lighter, just underneath that crease, we'll just dab it down. This is a good thing about this kneadable eraser. I never used to use this eraser before, but it comes in so much handy now. It is. Really good little eraser. Next to the mono eraser, it's a really good one to use. Okay, that's those creases done. Now we're going to move on to these little creases through here. And it's just coming around. Now I'm using the blending stump to get some of that graphite in and down. Bring that around a little bit more. It just fades out into nothingness. Then we bring it round and it drops. Then we've got little segments of it where it just creases in to the corner. Still using circular motions, it's just a little bit more darker on the edges and it gets that little bit more lighter as it trails off. Now we're just going to do a light crease. That comes round, just shade that in. That's going to be a little bit more darker just above that creased area, and it just trails off into this point here. You create like a V shape or a Y shape towards that edge. You see what I mean by using the graphite pencil? It just gives you that nice little, lays the graphite down really well. And then if you need to, you can just go back over it with your pencil, which we probably will do because it's not as dark as what we want it to be. But we get the fundamentals of the creases in. We don't have to use the 2H pencil or anything. Now using the 2H, very gently, 2B, very gently adding that darker edge to it. Once we've done that, Go over it with a blending stump. Still circular motions. You can see it just trails off it does. We're just going to put some strokes in, just so that we get that transition from dark to light. Okay, so we're just going to be blending in more of that graphite in with our blending stump, smoothing it all out. Every now and then just applying like a few little strokes in like this as well, just to blend it through, so you get that nice transition from dark to light. Same here as well now for the edges that we did earlier on. I'm just going to lighten it out, it's a little bit lighter on this edge here. So we're just going to flatten the eraser out and just dab it in. Now we got that bit. Now we're going to move on to the other edge now as well. So we've got a nice little crease forming at the top here. So we're using our blending stump again. We're just going to be creating another crease here where it comes in, then it curves round, and then we've got our light that's hitting it into that corner edge. Then it comes around, just shading it in with our blending stump. And you may find that just using the blending stump is enough to create the effect that you're looking for. It's all about whatever you find more comfortable in using. It's like I was saying, when I use different materials, different tools for different parts. When I'm creating any of my art pieces, skin areas, I will just use the dry brush just to blend in. You see it comes around through here. And then for the harsher lines, because you want to create a bit of texture, especially on fabric, hair, things like that, I'll use the blending stump. Bring that around to the edge. So yeah, for me it seems like logical to be using like something soft on skin, because you want it to look, especially if you're using like if it's a real small delicate skin that you're creating as well. You don't want to go too harsh with it. Plus as well, if you're using decent paper as well, you don't want to be messing up your paper, because it can sort of eat through your paper as well if you rub too hard or go over the same section too many times. It just peeks off. We can add all the other little creasy bits with a darker pencil in a minute. Then with our 2B, just going to start adding a few more darker creases in here. Got one little crease in there, a few more, and just through the bottom area. And we come up to this bit here where it just folds in, and that little bit there. Just making sure I was recording then. I think I was. Very gently with the pencil as well I am using. And we got that little bit there and there. And with the blending stump, blend that graphite in. See, I'm just using strokes just to add that transition. If you are using a cotton bud as well, you can use that. I use this as well just to demonstrate that you can use blending stump too. Soften up this shaded area that we got. You see it just trails off to the edges of it. This is what I was saying earlier on, that you don't necessarily need to put a blend it in. Just use that line that we created, then use your tools to do the rest. Not a lot of people do tend to use their fingers. Obviously you can't use, I do stress for people not to use their fingers when doing sketching or anything like that. A lot of people do use it, but it just adds fingerprints and things like that, and plus your hands get all dirty with it as well. And then you just end up putting smudge marks everywhere on your work. So I constantly use circular motions to blend a lot of the work in. Add a little bit more of a reflection light. And with our 8B, we're just going to just fill in that darker edge. And then with the blending stump, just going to smooth that line out. Also add that darker shadow to it as well. We'll do the same with this top bit here. It's just a small little crease there. So we didn't really use the 8B as much, but it still makes the image pop that little bit more, it does. Soften up the outer edge. Also gives that tiny bit of a shadow to it as well. It separates the picture away from the whiter page as well. Now I'm just going over little bits and pieces now, just to tidy up a few things, and then we will be done. I'll do another material piece next week, I will. Quite like doing the material side. Maybe do hair or something like that, but I might do another one like this. Let me know in the comments though, if you whatever sort of drawings you'd like me to see me doing. I'll be glad to answer any questions or anything like that. And there we have it, folks. Fabric drawn with a few creases using a graphite pencil. Didn't use the tissue this time around. But there we go. Hope you enjoyed this video. Give us a like if you enjoyed it. Next week will be another material one, or we'll be drawing hair. And I'll see you guys next week. Thank you for watching. And how was that video for you guys? Hope you enjoyed that video. Give us a like if you enjoyed that video, and give us a comment on how you're getting on with any of my sketches, from the water droplets that we did last week and the eye drawing as well. I want to see you guys work as well, so you can send me an email of your work, or you can send it to me on my social media, on my Instagram. Now, I did say that I'm going to be slowly closing down that Instagram as well, which I will be doing as well. I'm concentrating more on my TikTok account and on my YouTube channel as well. So if you do want to send me any of your pictures or anything like that, please do still put me up onto the Instagram, or you can email me at romeo@romeosketches.co.uk. And that's the end of the show, folks. Thank you all again for watching, and if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button, click that bell, and turn on notifications so you know when I upload a new video. My name is Romeo. This is Romeo Sketches, signing off. Peace out.